In this episode, we complete phase 3 of the game and take a look on what lies ahead of us in the new unlocked tier 7 and 8, complete most of the research in the MAM, finally leave the desert for the sake of further progression, and much more. Yo! Hello everybody, welcome back to Prawn to Play, and my Let's Play series of Satisfactory. In the last episode we had the opening of our storage center and also set up some manufacturers and did some research. And before I want to show you what kind of maintenance I did in between episodes and also the scope for today, I want to say thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel, everybody who got involved with comments, who gave feedback or is only watching and enjoying the series in silence. I really appreciate the feedback and I enjoy creating this series, and I also am very glad that some of you enjoy this as well. So stay tuned for the big project that will come once we completed all the tiers and update 8 kicks, because I still have not revealed what I have planned for when the time has come. But yeah, again, thank you, and feel free to get involved, to give feedback, to point things out, to give me ideas what you think might be cool, and I can implement to this factory, especially in the desert. So yeah, thank you. Now let's move on with the maintenance that I did in between episodes. Okay, before I forget it, I'm still recovering from my cold, so if there are any unwanted noises, breathers, in this episode as well, I apologize. I try to cut everything out that is not wanted, but yeah, I think I missed some of them in the last episode as well, so it will get better very soon, I promise. But again, I apologize for any inconvenience. Now, let's move on with the maintenance. You already saw the lifts that brings all the parts, bring all the parts to the main bus. I added some cosmetics over there. For example, I mostly went with the steel walls and added some reinforced windows every now and then so that we can see the parts getting lifted up. And also cleaned up some of the logistics in most of the buildings, not everywhere, because I still consider using these cargo ports in the future, for example for train stations, but I erased all the unnecessary bells and splitters. For example, there were smart splitters that are not necessary anymore, and now everything looks a little bit cleaner. What also looks cleaner now is our power lines, are our power lines, because I was never sure in the desert whether or not a power line could be cut, because I never knew what was connected to there. And now I fed power lines all along the bridge underneath and added additional foundations so that it will be encased in the bridge itself and not visible anymore. Not only does this look way cleaner, because 95% of the power lines in the desert are gone now, and it just looks cleaner in my opinion, but I also know, okay, a bridge is connected to a building, so I know for sure where the power lines run. And if I need additional power lines, I simply can break up the foundations, look for the next wall outlet and connect something over there. I was intentionally going for adding 1 meter foundations underneath, but then the power lines that slack a little bit would clip through there, like you can see here. And this is why 2 meter foundations were mandatory in order to completely hide the power lines. And I'm really happy with the result, because in my opinion this looks way cleaner. I also have not gotten rid of the pyramid, as you can see, but instead I added another radar tower over there, since our original storage center is completely gone now, and the pyramid is actually in the very center of the desert, which makes it a perfect spot for the radar tower. It almost covers the whole desert. I'm still not sure whether or not I will keep this, but for now I will leave it be. But I'm still not sure whether or not I like this. The future will show how we deal with this. I also did some further cosmetics to the factory. I think I already showed the outside. And now let's go to the inside. I wanted to break up the pitch black ceiling with some contrast, so I went with a metal beam and added loads of label signs on it and set them to, I think, emission strength 2, chose a color of my pleasure, and then use this as a cosmetic touch. But when it's nighttime, this will not light up this room whatsoever. But this is simply for the visuals. It will change in the future eventually, I think. It does not provide light, and nor will these large billboards, which are set on emission strength 2 as well. And these are not set on white color at all, because this would be way too bright, especially during nighttime. But it's more of almost a gray color, and this is not to have too much of a contrast when, especially when it's dark in here. So this breaks up the pitch black ceiling quite good, in my opinion. I'm happy with this, with how this turned out, although the label signs took a very long time. And you can also see the mascot of our storage center running over here, because during my maintenance at the oasis where we put up our first 2 coal generators that are still labeled temporary, but they're still there, I noticed that there are indeed pale berries, which is the last nutrition that we were missing up until this point. And the radar tower at our first storage center seems to not have covered the oasis over there, because it was not showing pale berries, but they were there. And I actually recorded some B-roll that you can see over here of me picking up the pale berries, and we will use them for research later on as well. But I remember that there was a lizard doggo at or close by our refinement, so I went over there. Took a pale berry. It was actually kind of difficult to get him eat the pale berry, and then it was even more challenging to get him to our storage center safely, because I had to put down some ramps in order to get him downhill in a safe manner, and then run all across the desert with him, because he had to follow me, and I was not allowed to get too far away, and I was not allowed to break line of sight either, because as soon as we break LOS with him following us, he will immediately stop and stay around the area where he currently is. So it actually took me a long time to get him over here. But now we have a little pet in our storage center, and every once in a while he brings us stuff. For example, here he has sulfur for us, which we not need, but still, thank you very much. And I named him Enel because his long ears remind me of a certain One Piece character. Every once in a while he is also able to give us mycelia, which would be otherwise finite if we would cut down the trees in this game. But with this we can exploit the system a little bit and extend the accessible mycelia as well. And I heard that he is also capable of finding power slugs. He has not yet, because yeah, he's not here for too long, but I think we will notice in the future whether or not this is true. What else? Oh yeah, the manufacturer room. I improved things down there as well. I implemented a nicer stairway and also a logistics floor. Let me show you from outside at first. Because I tried to implement it to the building structure as clean as possible. And I really liked how it turned out, with some tilted walls as well. And I first put down some foundations, then some tilted walls, then I raised the foundation by 1 meter, so that the edges are a little bit cleaner, because otherwise it would like this, with the edges on the side of the foundation pointing out like this, and I think this way it looks way cleaner. And this actually makes it possible to feed all the parts that are necessary through this logistics floor, which looks quite clean in my opinion. And whatever is necessary we can feed through a conveyor lift floor hole. I placed conveyor lift floor holes in front of every single storage container here, or at least storage container line in front of every part. You get the point. And now we are able to automate production down here by using these conveyor systems. I underclock them so that the input rate does not exceed the accessibility or the input parts of our central storage center completely. For example, if you would have the high-speed connectors running at 100% clock speed, we would consume more quick wire that are getting transported to our central storage center, which would eventually lead into using them up completely. And I want to avoid that. I still want to have some backup in the storage center as well. So this is why everything is underclocked, but still running automatically. And all in all, I'm quite happy with the current state. Pet pet. And now, alright, let's move on with the to-do list. And the 2 tasks that are currently on there will actually be dealt with at the same time. Because I, for once, tried to do some, proper preparations. And I prepared all the necessary project parts that are necessary for completing phase 3. And I also have some storage boxes prepared at the MAM as well. So once again, let's get a little glimpse on the project parts running into the space elevator. Again, I know that I can also stuff them in very quickly manually, but I really like this site and see the hard work of our project running into the space elevator and having some visual progress. Now, of course, I don't want to stay here because 2500 versatile frameworks running into the space elevator will take some time, but we can make use of this time very efficiently. And let me store everything that's not necessary for now so that I have enough room. Yeah, as mentioned in the last episode, I tried to prepare everything that's necessary or that's available for us in the research center at the moment. And we can actually now complete some of the research trees in general. For example, on my way to the lizard doggo and to get a pet myself, I actually noticed that I needed more mycelia. So I took a left turn and there was the last remaining alien that we have not encountered yet, which was the stinger. So I dealt with him really quickly and now we have some stinger remains that we can research. So let's do this really quick. Then I also took out some DNA capsules that we had in our hub storage box as well, and took some crystal oscillators and some high-speed connectors with me so that we can add the enemies to as scannable objects as well. Not that we need it, but in order to complete the whole research tree we can do so. And last but not least, we can unlock the medicinal inhaler by using alien protein, beryl nut and rotors. And this completes the whole alien organisms research tree. And now we also are able to produce protein inhalers if we wish. There are several more different recipes in order to craft inhalers, and they are basically an instant heal. So if we are running around the world and take damage, for example, through gas, through alien encounters or radiation, or fall damage even, we can instant heal to full health back again with these. So it might be handy to craft some in the future, but for now we will leave them aside and unlock the other recipes first. Next up is the Caterium research tree, and I prepared some iron rebars in order to unlock the stun rebars. Again, not really necessary because we won't need the rebar gun whatsoever or won't use it, but nevertheless I always find it satisfying to have the research trees completed, and once we get our hands on supercomputers we will unlock the geothermal generator, which we will actually place down at the geyser that we have close to our refinement, because I have never used this and I'm really curious about how this turns out. And we also will have the programmable splitters unlocked as well soon. Next up is the mycelia research tree, and I have never used the parachute. It would have been handy to have this on our back before the jetpack, but I have never thought about this and I have never used it at all in this game, so it was not on my monitor, or it was not in my mind as an option. But maybe I will craft them in the future, just so that I know how these work. Next up we have the gas nobelisks by using normal nobelisks, mycelia and biomass that I all prepared beforehand as well. And I don't want to waste too much time going through all of these. Last but not least, we have 2 more inhaler recipes to unlock. 1 and 2. And this completes the mycelia research tree as well. And now we have, as mentioned, 2 more different inhaler recipes. Now, all in all, I found 11 pale berries, and I gave one of them to Enel, but I think this means that we are 1 pale berry short in order to complete the nutrients tree, but maybe we are now able to scan for berries and will be able to find the last missing pale berry that's necessary for us in order to complete the nutrients research tree as well. Because I went on a search for pale berries as well after finding the current 11, but I was not able to find it. Now, next up we have the shatter rebar, and I actually stored away some quartz crystal for this. 3, 2, 1, unlock. And explosive or pulse nobelisks as well, which completes the quartz research tree. I have to speak properly. Nice. And yeah, we have quite some progress in the MAM. 4 out of the 7 available research trees completed now. Next up, we have the explosive rebars, which we won't use either in the future. But in order to be, as perfectionist as possible, let's simply unlock them. And also the cluster obelisk. We do not we do not have uranium cells available right now, nor do we have turbo fuel, because we need 2 more hard drives for that. 1 more paleberry missing, and supercomputers. But aside from that, we are almost completely done with our research. So, this one can be marked as completed. Let's take everything with us again. And actually, almost everything is inserted into the space elevator. So, let's clean up while the last ones are running in. I know what I want to do. I want to see if Inel has found something maybe for us. First we have to find him. Or her. Or it. I don't know. Thank you very much. And we can launch all the project parts in just a second into outer space. And done. Without further ado, let's go to the sealing process. Clip it. And ship it. Bye, have a great time. Very, very nice. And in case you didn't know, completing phase 4 is a whole different story, as you can already tell on the top right corner. We need 10,000 different project parts, and these are no joke. So yeah, we are not able to unlock the recipes right now, but we will very, very soon. And now let's take some looks at the tier 7 and 8, which we just have unlocked. The first one is the bauxite refinement. And this is actually quite important in order to progress whatsoever through the upcoming milestones. And in order to do that, we actually have all the necessary parts available right now, so we will complete this in just a minute. But first let's do complete it, and then we can take a look directly at everything that's necessary. So let's see, we need 200 motors. We need 100 heavy modular frames. 500 rubber and 50 computers. I have to bring the output of the manufacturing room underneath up here manually and store it away manually, but it will take ages until it backs up anyways, so there's no rush in doing so. But let's put everything inside and launch it already. there's no need to, yeah, back up multiple milestones at the moment, because we are not able to finish anything else at the moment. So let's simply launch the pod.
Milestone reached. Quartz and bauxite scanning unlocked. A new generation of basic aluminum parts is now available, which can be constructed from bauxite after a complex process of refinement. The blender will be used in future processes.
Quartz unlocked, yeah, right. Oh yeah, but we have the blender now. Nice, I never noticed that this is the first milestone of tier 7. Can we build it? No. Shit. Okay, but let's see. We have now alumina solution. And this is actually, Ada said it. Ada? I think Ada. Ada said it already. Now we can scan for bauxite. How do I scan again? Oh yeah. And there is absolutely no bauxite in the desert available whatsoever. And this is what I mentioned in the last episode, because we will definitely have to leave the desert for the bauxite. Maybe something will appear on the radar, but I think it's just too far away. It is, yeah. Oh, never mind. Just merely 3,000 meters. Or 3.6 kilometers, 3.7, yeah. Just around the corner. Smile. But the complex process is indeed to extract bauxite with a miner, and then use bauxite with water in order to get alumina solution by using refineries, which use very much power. And although we cleaned up many different awesome things, we do not have that much power left anymore. And a byproduct of this is also silica, which will be necessary later on this production line. But we use the alumina solution that we get from bauxite and water in order to produce aluminum scrap. And we can have a little circuit with this, because we need water as an input and we get water as an output by processing alumina solution together with coal to aluminum scrap. There are alternate recipes that I will use in the future, but for the very basic setup and for getting our hands on aluminum ingots, which needs aluminum scrap and then silica again, which is also a byproduct from the first process. And then the aluminum ingots can be crafted into aluminum sheets by using copper ingots as well, or directly craft into aluminum casings. And this is the new basic, these are the new basic parts in order to progress through tier 7 and 8. For example, in order to unlock the highest logistics mark, the Mark 5, belts and lifts, we need aluminum sheets, and these are also necessary in order to build these. And yeah, encased industrial beams and reinforced iron plates are no problem at all. Then we have the hazmat suit, which protects us from radiation if we have iodine infused filters. And for this we also need aluminum casing. Same here for the aeronautical engineering. Do we have the radio? Yes, we do have the radio control unit unlocked as well. There it is, and yeah, it needs aluminum casing, which we need to add to crystal oscillators and computers. These two are no problem at the moment, but yeah, once again we have to get our hands on aluminum casing and sheets, so we do need to get our hands on bauxite in order to progress any further. But then we are able to unlock the first project part that's necessary in order to complete phase 4, and also unlock drones. as well as supercomputers, but we also have already unlocked this in the MAM, so yeah, no need to rush to here for the supercomputers at least. And also I don't want to rush to the project parts, or I don't want to follow these too much at the moment, because right now, as of update 7, there's nothing that comes after completing phase 4. This is basically the end of the main quest, let's call it that way at the moment. We will finish this eventually, but there's nothing to do afterwards, and my future big project that I have in mind after unlocking everything does not require to complete phase 4 whatsoever, so we might do this as a side quest later on, but this is not our main object at the moment. And the last milestone of tier 7 is unlocking the hover pack. And in tier 8 now things get serious, because we will unlock nuclear power, and we actually are able to do this very soon as well, because we will only need 50 supercomputers for this. But then again aluminum is needed in order to unlock advanced aluminum production, which unlocks nitrogen gas, fused modular frames, other project parts, as well as other extractors, which can get gas and fluids out of the ground, because right now we are only able to use oil extractors or water extractors or miners for solid resources, but this steps up our extraction games quite a bit. And then we are able to unlock leading edge production, which unlocks the highest miner mark in this game, as well as turbo motors, which are necessary for this, as well as the second to last project part. But this is very endgame like, and we will need this eventually for our big project, but not right now, and we have to progress quite a bit in order to get our hands on these anyways. And last but not least, we get some big parts in order to unlock the last project part, and as well to deal with some nuclear stuff as well. But this is stuff for the future, so let's not get into too much detail over here right now. So what's the most important right now is get our hands on aluminum, so bauxite basically. And in order to do so, we also have to consider to step up our energy game and to extend our power output. But first, let me mark off complete phase 3 from the to-do list. And now, alright, the decision has been made what we are going to do next. I double-checked the update videos from Coffee Stain Studios again, and especially with the one with the title The World is Going to Change, where Jace goes about the planned changes in update 8. They show that the two of the areas where we can go in order to progress further are not affected by the update whatsoever. Spoiler alert, because I want to talk about different things now. We can go to 2 different areas in order to progress from this point on. The first one is right south of the desert, and it's called the Swamp. And the second one is right in the southeast of the world map in Satisfactory, and this is the Blue Crater. And both of these areas have everything that we need from now on and are not affected by the changes in update 8. The foliage is maybe mildly changed, and the exploration details, for example collectibles in these areas, will not change at all. And I will include the map overviews from Coffee Stain Studios that they released that show that these 2 areas are not affected by update 8, at least in these matters. So in my opinion, it's safe to go there without spoiling things for the upcoming world exploration, where we go all around the map once update 8 goes live and see what's changed and collect all the hard drives. Now this also means that we are not able to use many or some of the or most of the alternative recipes, for example for fuel generation or plastic and rubber refinement or aluminum factories. There are plenty of alternate recipes available for these as well, but since we want to postpone the hard drive hunt after update 8 is live, we will not consider these for now, so we will first set up an oil rig in the blue crater in order to expand our power output and produce more plastic and rubber there as well, so that we have enough for computers and supercomputers and we are able to produce more of them. And then we will extract some bauxite in the swamp and either process it right there or bring it into the desert via train and do stuff over here. I will figure things out once we are at it, but this is the plan for the future. And now let me prepare everything to go to the blue crater. Alright, inventory is cleaned up. I put some extra packaged fuel in the trunk of our Explorer. And now we are going to drive to the blue crater where we will set up our new fuel generator site, as well as our additional plastic and rubber production. And I think I won't touch the production for the circuit boards for now, but the spare or the extra rubber and plastic production where we have 2 extra refineries set up, these will eventually get replaced by our new setup that is planned for the blue crater. And also I don't think I will make this too long, so this will most likely be a time lapse. So I won't talk too much during this ride, but still I want to take you with me on this journey. So enjoy, and I will see you in the blue crater again. Hi there, it's me in the post edit, and after completing the record of this clip, I realized how short it is, at least way shorter than I originally expected. So it will be only a couple of minutes, but at the same time I decided to do some post commentary for the first time so that you can follow my thought processes along this little journey, and I hope you still enjoy this little time lapse. So after driving through the whole desert and reaching the border of the swamp area, I decided to mark the location of this crash site and also write down what's necessary in order to unlock this, so that I have this already done and on the radar for the world exploration that is about to come in the future. And also, since you will see in a very second that the Explorer is not very handy for driving through the swamp, I decided to pack it in my pocket and run through the swamp myself. Also, I packed my gas filters. As you can see here, I didn't mention it until now, and these are well necessary in the swamp, especially because there's a lot of gas in here, but we have 15 in our pocket and this will be way more than necessary. Okay, we also made it through the swamp, and here you can see the first resource nodes of bauxite that we just saw. And we will tap into these right after we expanded our power, so that we can get our hands on aluminum casing, aluminum sheets, and all the stuff that comes after that as well. And after running up this hill, after a while I realized that I still have the Explorer in my pocket, so I decided to get it out way too late, because I could have driven all this part of the route, but well. And we already reached the blue crater. Now I was very curious if I could take a shortcut after destroying these rocks, but turns out that it was a dead end, and in order to avoid having all these voices in my head, I picked up this summer sloop really quick and continued with my journey. But very soon I realized that once again the Explorer is not very handy in order to get to my destination, so I packed it up again and went to my destination by foot. And here we are at our destination, at the blue crater. I really want to have another lizard doggo as a pet for here, for this area, but this has to wait until we find more pale berries. Now, let's check how much crude oil we have available here. Normal pure, 2 pures here, another normal right in front of us, and an impure. I think that's it, yeah. So I think the 2 pure ones are in this cave. Yeah. Oh, big boss. So 3 pure. Let's check really quick. Okay, each of them gives us 240 meters cubed of crude oil per minute, so 720. Then we have another 2 normal nodes, which gives us another 240, so 960. Correct? Yeah, I think. 720 plus 240, and then we have another 60 with the pure, so we have 1020 meters cubed of crude oil available here in order to build a huge oil processing rig. And my plan is, because I did it in the past as well on my first playthrough, is to build a huge foundation above this lake, because otherwise the blue crater is quite limited on open space. As you can see here, it's surrounded by all these cliffs, and everywhere you have these large trees. These are not really trees, but there's not that much open space. Let's keep it that way. So I will most likely plan a big foundation above this lake, and we will see what we can do with this and how the possible setup will be. I will plan this before starting the next episode. And I think I'm going to call it a day here, because there's no real need to start things without planning. So all that's left to say is, again, thank you very much for watching and for interacting with me. Feel free to drop any feedback, any ideas, any inspiration, anything that you want to see that you want me to maybe implement into this run through. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.